Here we are. That's who we are. Welcome to Diane and Sarah Holistic Health, where we work together in order to create a better world. A world that will help our children and children live in a better place than we are now. Welcome once again. Enjoy our Warrior of Compassion talks. Enjoy our talks about life on planet Earth. Enjoy the wholeness that we bring to this station for your variety and for your enjoyment. And now, Diana Sarah, Holistic Health's Life on Planet Earth. Welcome once again to our channel. We don't know if you're listening on YouTube or at Spreaker or other venues that we have, but we hope you enjoy this coming up story. Great sci-fi story at vocal.media, and you can visit us. See the link below. The title is It Just Didn't Happen by John W. Gilmore. He tried it again, did he? Yes, he did, Bruce. Luckily, the fall wasn't so far this time, and the packed snow broke his fall. I can't understand him at all. He thought he could jump off a building like in a Carlos Castaneda story and go into another dimension. The only thing he seems to be is demented, and that doesn't mean changing dimensions, Bruce said with a smirk. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, if you saw your mother torn apart by dogs, would you be a bit disturbed? Tim asked. He told you that story? His mother's fine. He's talking about his mother in another dimension. He said that is what made him jump from one dimension to the other. The sheer shock. This was therapy for him. And guess what? The other him, the one we all knew, just happened to switch places with him at the same time. Bruce shook his head. I feel sorry for the guy. He just lost it. But what if he's telling the truth? What if there are people who can jump from one dimension to the other? I wouldn't know. They wouldn't tell us. And I wouldn't care. Care about what? Glenda asked, entering in the room carrying her usual oversized cup of cappuccino. Where's this, your so-called man talking again? She grinned and pulled out her seat. She put down her cup, sat at her desk, and began to rearrange things. They were in a very small cabin with no window. It was a very dreary little room that couldn't be brightened up no matter how they tried. They added pictures, and it was still gloomy. When they brought in extra lights, it was unbearable. They glared and bounced off of the hard metal and almost blinded everyone. Glenda often wondered what would happen if the cruise ship they were on sank. She could imagine drowning in this little box so far below deck you couldn't possibly get out. Why had she taken this job? She had 3 degrees in social sciences, and here she was in a psychological experiment in this research team exploring the effects of employee life on cruise ships. We're talking about Jake, Tim said. He got injured again, only slightly this time, and is coming back aboard next stop. He tried to jump dimensions again by jumping off a building in Alaska. Well, if he jumps from one high enough, it might just work, she said with a grin. Bruce began to laugh. Tim began to smile. I feel sorry for the guy, he said. Don't get me wrong. He's a nice guy, and I feel sorry for him too, Glenda said. But really, Tim, jumping dimensions? Come on. Tim shrugged. What did he know? Anything was possible nowadays. They just didn't know what was really going on. After a few short days, they picked up Jake. He had been taken to San Francisco on another cruise ship and dropped there to rendezvous with his own ship. He looked good. He didn't even seem to be injured at all. In fact, He looked in better shape than before. He looked stronger and more athletic. "What happened?" Bruce said. "I heard you were injured." "Who, me? I'm fine." "Weren't you in the hospital or something?" No, not me. That was the other me. He jumped out the window, and we changed places." "What the hell are you talking about?" Glenda asked. "It wasn't me who got injured. Your Jake did. I'm a different Jake. Don't you know we've exchanged places 15 or 20 times?" Her jaw dropped. "Oh, I guess they were keeping it secret from you. That's interesting. In my dimension, we know all about jumping. It's not a big deal." Bruce's eyes narrowed. "You're kidding, right?" he asked. "No joke, Bruce. That is your name, right, Bruce?" "You know full well what my name is, Jake. Don't pull that crap on me again." "Again? Has he said something like this before?" "A few times." "Why didn't you tell us? He may have been dangerous." "I thought he was joking." "I really find it problematic. He could have endangered all of us. He is becoming a full-blown schizophrenic," she said, glaring at him. "Well, first of all," Jake said, "I am not even a partial schizophrenic. And secondly, I've never liked you anyway, so I don't care what you think." "Whoa, that really doesn't sound like our Jake," Tim said. "It's probably another personality," Glenda said. Bruce stood up. "I'm going to talk to the captain. This has really gotten ridiculous." "You do that, and you better start sleeping with your eyes open," Jake replied. "You threatening me, Jake?" He jumped up and got in Jake's face. "No, I'm promising you." With a quick movement, he somehow grabbed Bruce's wrist, twisted his arms up to the point of almost snapping them at the wrist. Tim stepped forward toward him. He shot a snapping kick up while still holding Bruce's arm, just missing the tip of his nose. "Next time I'll not pull my kick." He twisted a little and Bruce cried out, "I'll snap it if you try something like that again, too." He shoved Bruce across the room into the desk. "Now sit down and let me tell you cavemen something." Bruce got up and adjusted his clothing, gathering all of his dignity, all that he could. While he was doing so, he sat down. "You got 5 minutes. Unless you kill me, I'm going to the captain." Glenda walked around her desk and took a seat. Tim found a space along the wall and leaned there, keeping his eyes on Jake. He had never seen him act like that, or even look like that. And where had he learned self-defense moves like that? Not even self-defense, offensive moves. "I know that many of us have told you about the jumps, and you haven't listened. I've heard about how slow people are in this dimension. It is just a shock to see how true it is. Let me tell you something. We learned to time travel and jump dimensions a long time ago in my world. We realized that time ran in circles, like a mandala, with one interacting with the next one, not like a ribbon or a straight line, but as wheels, and we learned to jump from wheel to wheel. When we discovered that, we found that we could jump to another dimension without damaging our own timelines. So we began to do it first for research and then for practical medical applications. We discovered that living a totally different life can reduce trauma and stress and increase personal growth. Some of us regularly move from place to place to do that. So here I am. My guess is the one before me told you about some tragic story or something and came here to allow himself to heal. We literally have to jump before our jump gate activates, so we will be moving fast enough so that we can engage it. So no, I'm not hurt. Not the way you think. I have been bullied, beaten, and abused in many wards by narrow-minded people like you. In fact, some of them were even your counterparts where I come from, so I don't like you. I hope you get that. One reason I came to this place was to try to make peace with you." They were silent. Jake looked around the room. His eyes lit on Tim. "There's something different about you. What is it?" "I'm a vegetarian," Tim said. "No, I don't mean that. What are you?" "I'm an extraterrestrial." Bruce laughed, and Glenda began to smile. Tim just looked at them. "I'm not joking," he said. "I don't believe in extraterrestrials," Jake said. Glenda and Bruce began to laugh. Jake cut his eyes over to them and then grinned. I'm sorry, I just can't believe this. All my jumps and I have never met an extraterrestrial. I've never met an Earthling who is jumping dimensions. I've never heard of such a thing. Well, we have something in common. Well, why are we on a ship of narrow-minded humans instead of traveling somewhere glamorous and glorious? I can take you to my planet through a wormhole, and you'll see a lot more than you can hear. Maybe you can teach us how to jump dimensions. I think I'd love doing something like that. Really? Can you do that? I mean, take me to another planet? Sure, if you're willing. We will be going to a planet in the Orion system. We sort of jump, but we jump through a wormhole. What is this stupidity? Glenda said. I just can't take this anymore. I'm a social scientist. I have 3 degrees. If any such thing existed, I would know about it. Chill, Brenda, they might be dangerous, Bruce said. Tim nodded the side of his head towards Bruce. See what I mean? You want to spend your time with the intellectually challenged, or get out of here. I've been trapped here for 3 years. Do you want that? My research is just about through. I can write up my findings at home. Earth really sucks. This one does anyway. I've heard that from many others, Jake said. He looked at Glenda and Bruce. And if this is the best it has to offer, he looked at Tim. Let's jump through time and space. Tim reached over with his right hand, pulling up his left sleeve. There was a gray wristband there with 2 white buttons. He looked up at Jake and smiled. He hit the 2 buttons at the same time. There was a flash of bright white light, and they were gone. Bruce looked at Glenda. What happened? He asked. Nothing at all, because that was impossible. I agree, nothing happened out of the ordinary. They just walked out. But how do you explain? He lifted a hand and shook his head. Let's go back to work, he said. I'll talk to the captain this evening. I will not get my funding cut by telling them anything about space aliens and dimension jumpers. That is just crazy. That is the end of the story by John Om Prakash Gilmore. Please visit our website to learn more about us, or visit vocalmedia.com to read the story over again and to look at some of our many other stories. Follow us, listen to us, and enjoy. Namaste, everyone.